Limited to join us. Good afternoon, คุณทอแสง
Good afternoon คุณณัฐกร คุณวีนา
สวัสดีค่ะ
คุณทอแสงครับ Could you give us a picture of the transport of refined oil into Bangkok and how many transport routes have been affected by the floods?
For the Bangkok area, the oil is normally supplied by truck from two areas, from Bangkok Refinery, which is located in Bangkok, and also from Sriracha, where Thai oil and Esso refineries are located. And currently, the transportation is still operating normally to those areas without flood water. In terms of the area with flooded water, like in the north and northwest of Bangkok, the trucks cannot access anymore to the area which have high flood. However, in those areas, there's no demand anyway.
I see.
So in terms of the pump stations that can still operate, currently there's no shortage of supply.
But Kun Tosang, do you foresee a problem in the oil supply in the near future, and how soon will that happen?
In terms of supply, we believe there's still no shortage, as the refineries in the three areas, namely Bangkok, Sriracha, and Rayong, are still operating at full capacity. There should be no lack of supply, unless only to the area with the flooded water where the transportation cannot be accessed to. So in terms of the area with no flood, we still believe that there should be no shortage of supply.
คุณทอแสง Now let's talk about demand. How has demand for oil sales dropped due to the floods? Let's not talk about the areas which are inundated and vehicles cannot navigate. So how much has the demand dropped?
In general, as the overall country demand, the diesel demand has dropped quite significantly, over 10%. As diesel is the main fuel for the agricultural and industrial sector, and the affected area are mainly the agricultural and industrial area. Therefore, we have seen diesel demand drop by over 10% as compared to last year. For the gasoline demand, we see around 3 to 5% dropped, as most of the gasoline users are in Bangkok. But if you look today, maybe the demand has dropped more because people are not driving; they are parking their cars on the high buildings. So we may see more drops of gasoline demand in these 2 weeks. But we foresee that the demand should come back later when the flood situation lessens.
คุณทอแสง just out of curiosity, there has been no hoarding of oil and gas, right, compared to water and food?
No, there's no hoarding of oil and gas. As for the Thai oil refinery, our RORI at Sriracha is open almost 24 hours a day to ensure that supply is uninterrupted. In addition, I believe that the oil inventories in our area across the country are kept full to make sure that there will be no shortage of supply.
I see.
Well, thank you so much, Kun Tosang, for sharing the information there.
Okay, thank you very much.
In Phnom Penh, the Cambodian National Committee for Disaster Management has estimated that the flood destruction cost up to $521 million. The destruction includes 400,000 hectares of crops and many infrastructures. In its report, National Committee for Disaster Management has also recorded 247 deaths, and 1.5 million people of the over 14 million population have also been affected. Floods have hit many parts of 17 provinces in Cambodia: Kampong Thom, Bantam Bong, Bantay, Munche, and Siem Reap, home to marvelous Angkor Wat, are the most affected.
Now let's take a look at the Myanmar floods here as well. Flash floods about 500 kilometers north of Yangon have killed hundreds of people and left many more people missing, according to officials interviewed by the local media source. The official put the estimated damage from the disaster at around $1.64 million. More than 1,500 people have sought refuge into shelters in the flood-hit town of Pakkoku and were visited by the military-dominated country's second vice president, Sai Muakkam, on Sunday morning. Besides, 403 other houses, including one clinic, one monastery, and one primary school from 22 villages in Puok Township, were ravaged, and 19 other people, including 10 women, were missing or killed in flood of Yao Creek and Kiao Creek. Local media said 6 relief camps have been set up to accommodate 1,500 flood victims. More than 2,000 houses were swept away by the mass of water that hit 4 towns in the Magway region on Thursday and Friday. Water level is coming back to normal, said by a local man. Transportation is still difficult as the bridge was destroyed and most telephone lines are still down, the man added. Southeast Asia has been battered by particularly severe monsoon rains this year. The flooding is the worst hit Thailand in decades, killing at least 356 people, displacing more than 110,000 and doing huge damage to the economy, tens of thousands of families sheltering in evacuation centers. Heavy rains since July have inundated large parts of Southeast Asia, forcing millions from their homes. An official said latest development report another 336 people dead in Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam.
Let's go now to our report on the B&H's flood prevention measures.
B&H Hospital, where I am today, is situated in the flood risk area of Bangkok, which is Silom district, the famous red light and business junction of the city. Well, a chance to talk to the director of the hospital about the preparation measures to protect the building compound and evacuate the patients, which is the most important thing, is here. Severe floods continue to strike deeper and deeper into the inner of Bangkok. Yet, we prepare for the measures, protect our belongings, and evacuate for the safety of all. Despite all preparations, when it comes to people who are hospitalized, the evacuation needs to be as cautious as possible for the worst-case scenario. Doctor, in this flooding crisis, what are the preparation measures of the B&H Hospital in preventing severe damages, caused by the floods?
Right. Again, at the beginning, we have to do the risk assessment to the hospital. What is the risk that the hospital may affect from before flooding and after flooding? I think that is the 3 category that we are planned at the moment. Again, after reassessment, we found that the chance to have the flooding here is low. By using the statistic. But again, this time the flooding is quite huge, so we have to monitor day by day. So currently, before flooding, what we have been prepared is that first, for the treatment for the patients, currently we already stock all the medicine supply and food, and including water that can look after our patient to be at least 1 week times. So in terms that it's uncontrolled, the flooding is coming quicker than what we expect, then we can at least to look after our patient for more than 7 days from the beginning. Again, the other concern will be, even we are not hit by the flooding, but then the surrounding community in which that our patients stay, that also we have to prepare how to move them from their home to the hospital. So besides of the normal road ambulance that may be able to access only some certain level of water high, we have to prepare some of the off-road car in which that they can go deeper into the water. Or the last option will be by the small boat. So we already prepared that in terms of to help our patient that use B&H Hospital.
Right. So are there any patients that come for treatment, during this crisis?
Yes, currently there are 2 patients that have been requested us, but mainly will be the case that is chronic and stay at home. So we have to help them in this kind of crisis to bring them here and then look after them.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
A hospital is the safest territory the patients trust, especially the B&H hospital, which is the first private hospital in Thailand. A hefty measure is needed during the time of crisis. Patsurang Desha Putharangsi reporting for ASEAN TV.